Kom igjen nå.
And assigned by the International Ice Hockey Federation. The referee of this game are Brett Iverson and Mikko Kaupukari. The linesmen are Dimitri Golia and Dustin McCrank. The starting heroes for Team Norway are goalkeeper number 30, Lars Haugen. Defenders number 6 and captain Jonas Hollos. And 47, Alexander Bomsaxen. Forwards, numbers 46, Mattis Olimp, number 40, Kenandre Olimp, and number 18, Tobias Lindström. The starting 6 heroes for Team Korea, goalkeeper number 1, Matt Dalton. Defenders, number 5, Brian William Young, and number 6, Wongjong Kim. Forwards, number 11, Kisung Kim, number 19, Sang-Won Kim, and number 81, Jong-Yong Lee.
There's the battle at the top, and there's the battle to stay in the tournament. Norway's been in the top group for 13 straight years at the World Championship and needs a win today, either in regulation or in overtime, to stay up at the top group. Lars Haugen gets the starting goal. Haugen pulled against the United States, allowing 5 goals on 24 shots. He'll make the start for Norway. It'll be Matt Dalton once again for South Korea. To win a regulation to stay up. It's been a magical 14 months for South Korea, which qualified for this tournament last year at Division 1A. Defeated Poland, Kazakhstan, Hungary, and Ukraine to advance. Then played the Olympics on home ice in Pyeongchang. Lost 4 games there. 3 of them were fairly close. But now play to stay up at the top group of the World Championship. On the other side, Austria, the other promoted team from last year, has already stayed alive. That's the first time in a decade that a promoted team has not been relegated in its first year up. The last team to do that was France back in 2008. Kim Ki-sung works in. Plays it back across. Brock Radunsky with a shot, and the save is made by Haugen. And we've got a penalty coming, a hooking call. Will come in the opening 40 seconds of the period. And it'll be against Norway.
Team winner Norway, number 46, 2 minutes for hooking.
Korea's power play has scored twice in the tournament, including against Canada in their last game. Kenandre Olimp scored in the 3rd period. Norway's penalty killing has given up 9 goals. Rather, Korea scored twice in the tournament. Norway's penalty killing's given up 9 goals, which is 2nd worst. Korea's the only team that's given up more.
Eric Regan, a long shot, gets through to Haugen, and thrown down in front of his partner, saying it's in. A power play goal has taken Korea to a 1-0 lead, 50 seconds in, and Norway may challenge this.
There's a bit of a mess as the Korean captain Park Woo-sang is standing just on top of the crease. Well, it looks like he gets shoved back into the goaltender by Christian Bull.
The only question is, did he initiate the contact? Was he already bumping the goaltender with Bull?
That's pretty close, isn't it? I'll be surprised if they don't challenge. The one from the over the top is the best view in most cases.
And Norway is going to challenge it, right? So you must have a timeout to challenge. Obviously, Norway has that. So we'll get a video review.
Team Norway, challenge, goaltender interference.
So the standard is who initiated the contact with the goaltender. The goaltender was cleared in the crease.
And at some point, Bull, the defenseman, knocks Park Woo-sang backwards on top of the goaltender. It'll be, as you say, Gord, whether the contact was initiated by 36 Park Woo-sang, and that one, it sort of looks like he trails backwards into Haugen in the goal. You see it just trickle through his feet.
Now the other question too is the puck. See, the puck hits Haugen.
Oh, see, I don't think that's going to count.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That's a great view right there, is because Haugen's allowed to get to the top of the paint. Park Woo-sang is allowed to set up camp just on top of the paint, just in front of it.
And it looked to me like Woo-sang was already contacting Haugen when the puck arrived.
I don't think this is going to count.
There is a video review official upstairs who consults with the referees. What a key moment in the game, though.
Well, Norway doesn't score much anyway. Korea's had a rather difficult time, although they lost their last game 3-1 to Denmark. I thought it was their best game of the tournament.
They lost 13-1 to the U.S., scored first in that game.
We're going to look at this again. So there's no contact here by the defenseman to Park Woo-sang. He ends up making contact with Haugen. And then in this mess that ensues, the puck's going to trickle right between his legs into the back of the net.
Now, unless you believe that the puck had already arrived when Park Woo-sang made contact, and that certainly doesn't appear to be the case.
And nobody even knows it's in the net until that point. So everybody stands around and...
Long review here.
The one thing I would like to see with all review is there being a time limit to it.
Like a minute?
A minute, 90 seconds, what? Yeah, sure. How many times can you look at, once the review starts, like once you start seeing the video, not us, the referees, once they start seeing the videos, the clock should go on. You can only stare at the same review so many times.
That's an interesting look there because the puck arrives as Woo-sang is making contact.
It's a shot from Regan. See, I think the contact is there.
Yeah. Here's the call from referee Brett Iverson from Vancouver.
After video review, the call on the ice is overturned. We have no goal.
So there's a challenge by Norway that's effective, and the face-off now will come outside. And what a moment in the game.
One last look at it. 9 goals given up by Norway, shorthanded in the tournament, which would be the worst in the tournament, except South Korea's given up 15. There are 7 teams in the tournament that have given up less total goals than those 15 shorthanded, which is just an amazing total. They've got pumped a couple of times, 5 by the United States.
And 3 of those were on 2-man advantages.
Well, they had back-to-back, if I recall, back-to-back too many men on the ice penalties.
Yeah. Ken Holm has a shorthanded goal in the tournament, flips it back in. The other problem for the South Korean power play, 4 shorthanded goals against, including 3 in one game against Finland, which ties the tournament record. Right across the line by Cho Min-ho, drops it back. Eric Regan back on it. Still lots of time on this power play. Woo-sang back to Regan. Feeds it across for Min-ho. Back to Regan, winds and shoots, and Haugen got a piece of that to knock it away. I have to be honest, there's a hand pass called against South Korea that Norway went with Haugen in goal instead of Henrik Haugland, who's been the better goaltender for them in the tournament.
I was very surprised to see Haugen come out first. He's given up 19 goals on 100 shots, an 81 save percentage coming into the game. And he has gotten ripped apart a couple of games.
So they went with a more experienced Lars Haugen.
Henrik Haugland is clearly the goalie of their future. He's just 23 years old and at times has been very good, and including their only win in the tournament when they beat Germany 5-4 in the shootout. He made 40 saves in the game.
And stopped all 3 in the shootout. So South Korea has the first 4 shots in the game. If the game goes to overtime, no matter what happens, Norway survives. So there's that.
Well, so just consider if this game ends up close or tied towards the end,
right,
the goaltender is going to come out for Korea. And we've talked a couple of times about how Great Britain and Italy were able to qualify for next year's World Tournament. The last game
was the game.
The two teams needed a regulation win, and both goalies were out of the net. They were searching away for the empty net goal, and Italy scored into the empty net with 2 seconds left.
Final seconds now of the power play. Alex Plot along, wrist shot deflected in front. And Kim Sang-wook couldn't knock it away. 3 shots on goal for South Korea in that power play. Worked in by Von Saxon with a shot that deflects wide. Matt Hazolim back on it. Feeds it back, and now Sang-wook has it. Kim Sang-wook throws it back down to the Norwegian zone. And Alex Von Saxon goes back to pick it up. 3 gone here in the opening period. Later on tonight, Canada will take on Latvia here. At this hour in Copenhagen, Russia is playing Slovakia. A Russian win against the Slovaks sets up a first-place showdown in that group against Sweden tomorrow. Fired back down to the Norwegian zone, and back to pick it up is Johan Johansson. Up for Tommy Christensen. Game on this side comes tomorrow night when Latvia plays Denmark. The last playoff spot in this Group B at stake. The host team against the noisiest fans in the tournament. Matias Tretinez drops that back to the trailer. Jonas Holos moves in and shoots. That was blocked by Radunsky. Brock Radunsky from Kitchener, Ontario, at the age of 35, playing what might very well be his last game for the South Korean national team. Fed back across by Stefan Thorsen. Back at the point is Von Saxon for Holos. His long shot goes off the leg of Thorsen and wide. Now picked up by Christensen. Banks it back to Holos. Streaking in is Volkve Olsen off the bench. This also got bumped there by Brian Young. Now brought ahead by Joe Min-ho. That pass picked off by Volkve Olsen. Off the boards, a Plant with a rolling puck, plays it back across to Eric Regan. 6 Canadian-born players in the South Korean team. Kim Sang-wook works in. A backhand shot saved by Haugen. Rebound, and Sang-wook turned away again by Haugen. Kim Ki-sung on the forecheck for South Korea. Von Saxon up for Bastiansen. Icing rather called against Norway. 14:48 to go here in the first period.
Norway has had all kinds of trouble throughout this tournament, as we talked about in the Open, about generating any kind of offense. And at the other end, Korea's had a couple of good chances. One, the power play. They've had the disallowed goal as well. And then 2 really good chances by Kim Sang-wook, who picked up an assist on his brother's goal against Canada. Lars Haugen has made 6 stops already in goal for Norway.
We're 5 minutes and 12 seconds into the game. Norway doesn't have a shot yet. But over 220 minutes in the tournament without scoring. 3 full games that were shut out in a row as Brian Young spilled Matazola. Brian Young is a wrecking ball for South Korea.
He is not scared to lay the body on. As hard as it is sometimes in the middle of the ice, he'll still stand up.
Now poke ahead by Matazola, walks in, that rolls off his stick. And Tobias Lindstrom plays it back in the corner. Kim Ki-sung, a pass ahead for Kim Sang-wook, that misfired. Christian Bull, lead pass, chipped across by Olam to Lindstrom. Alex Plott back with it. Knocks it back to center ice, and Bull knocks it down. In comes Bull across the line, shoots, and a save made. And Matt Dalton hangs on to that. The first shot of the game for Norway. No score here in the first period. Happy Monday from Herning, Denmark. Beautiful city, about 3 hours west of Copenhagen by train. 50,000 people. Another hot day here. As the puck bounces off the end boards to Regan. Park Woo-sang, you mentioned the captain of this team, playing in his 16th IIHF tournament for South Korea, which climbed through the ranks from the 4th level to qualify for this tournament. Playing the Olympics was one thing. South Korea got in as the host country, but the South Koreans earned promotion here by coming up through Division 2, Division 1B, 1A, and now to here. Six to 1, the shots on goal in favor of the South Koreans as Stefan Thoresen comes in, the coach's son. His older brother Patrick Thoresen not playing. Played in the Olympics for Norway, not available here. Stefan Thoresen plays it back. Only 3 Norwegians have ever played in the NHL. Patrick Thoresen, and the 2 this year, Andreas Martinsson and Matt Zuccarello. Sorry, and Jonas Holos. Correct, is 4. Sorvik with it, up for Esplin. Holos played for Colorado nearly a decade ago as Forsberg knocks that in. Now played back in by Thoresen. Petter Thoresen, the coach of this Norwegian team, played in 5 Olympics for Norway as a player, which at the time tied the record since overtaken by Teemu Selanne and others, who played in 6 Olympics. Now losing the side of the goal, Volkvik Olsen steered that towards the net and picked up by Cho Min-ho. Swift for Radunsky. Drops it back for Swift to Radunsky, who catches that, drops it off for Min-ho. Cho Min-ho, a centering pass is knocked away by Eric Solston. Solston has Bastionson with him. And now Dalton plays it across the plant. Up for Swift, that pass misfired. And Holos is back to pick it up. Plant. Chipped ahead. Kim Sang-wook pokes at that. And now Hollis plays it around for Bastianson. Up the center ice, Ken Olam brings it across the line. Olam holds. Look for the return pass that was broken up by Young. Now in the corner, Lindstrom with it. Here's Lindstrom. Centers it. Ken Olam on it now. Ken Olam works it back in front. Mattis Olam had that tied up as defenseman Kim Won-jung got a stick on that. Ken Olam tried to flip that back. It bounced off his stick. Then Brian Young stepped hard into him.
That was close to a penalty.
Now a centering pass, and Ken Olam turned away in tight by Dalton.
Best chance for Norway, no surprise. The Olam brothers are the creators of it as they cycle the puck out of the corner. Lindstrom knocks the puck back to Mattis Olam behind the net. Mattis has always been the passer, the creator, and Ken Andre gets himself to the front. That's a really good save by Matt Dalton. He gets the blocker on it. Both Olam brothers had scored in the last game against Canada, and over the last few years, they and Patrick Thoresen have pretty much been Norway's offense, and without Patrick Thoresen here, it's really been a slog for them.
Arjun Kui works in from a sharp angle, shoots off the arm of Haugen. And the puck skipped off the boards over the glass.
A bit of an odd bounce.
Park Jin-kyu, 26-year-old, one of the younger players on the South Korean team, which has 12 of the 25 players 30 years of age or older.
And they're more than anything, Gord, is whatever the hopes are for the Korean hockey program is you've got to get younger people involved. They've got to get younger people at the quality of level that they could play or potentially play for their national team. That was the hope of the Olympics, as you start to jump start a little. Now will the funding disappear because the Olympics are over? It's
right.
It's pretty complicated for the dollars to be put forth when you don't see any results for a long time.
An Jin-wee tries to dig for it. He led South Korean scoring in the qualification tournament last year with 5 points in 5 games. Esplin lays it across for Johan Johansson. And the longer this game goes like this, the better it is for South Korea.
Neither team is equipped to make a comeback. You certainly want to get yourself out in front of the game, but Norway just needs a tie to move forward. So if Korea can get themselves into a tie spot in the last 10 minutes, that's gold for them. Then they can attack, and you don't have to worry about anything else. You just try and find one more goal.
Bouncing puck brought in by Lee Young-jon. Young-jon centers it, and that's tipped wide of the goal by Shin Sang-hoon. Shots in the game are 6-2 in favor of South Korea. 8.5 to go in the opening period. Bastianson taken down. Play continues. And Regan flips it to the line, but not out. Valkve Olsen plays it down to Bastianson. 37-year-old playing in his 13th World Championship. Valkve Olsen digs for it. Regan ties up Salston. Back at the point, Von Saxon finds Valkve Olsen with a quick shot. That goes wide. Valkve Olsen back on it. 7:45 to go here in the period. Mattis Olam shoots off a leg and wide. Now South Korea getting hemmed in here. As Norway makes a change, Mattis Olam threads that pass ahead for Ken Olam. Walks it and shoots, knocked away by Dalton's blocker. And finally hacked out by Kim Won-jung. Back comes Norway right away. Ken Olam. That was offside.
No, there's too many Korean players on the ice.
On again with that. And so Norway's back on the power play with 7:20 to go here in the period.
Team Korea, benchmark penalty, too many men on the ice.
So another 2-minute on the ice penalty called against South Korea, and Norway goes to the power play. Norway's power play is 2 for 23 in the tournament and has allowed 2 shorthanded goals. Now, the strange thing about this is, we've talked about this before, Ray, Norway's a country that's qualified for the last 3 Olympic Games.
They have just had a dreadful time here.
That high
scoring
tip by
goals.
Bastian goes wide. Here's Lindstrom on it. Tobias Lindstrom, a native of Sweden who's been in Norway the last 6 years, just got his transfer license approved a month before this tournament started. Here he is. Lindstrom drops it back for Esplin. To Mattias. Walks in and shoots. It goes off a skate. Back into the corner. Lindstrom all alone in front, but they can't get him the puck. Here it comes across to Lindstrom. Feeds it back to Esplin. Esplin to Lindstrom. Mattias back for Lindstrom. Walks right in, shoots. That deflects wide. Esplin across from Mattias. Walks in, fans on it. Goes back to Lindstrom, fires, scores! Tobias Lindstrom, power play goal, and Norway takes the lead.
Finally, off 0. Lindstrom scores his first goal of the tournament. He is on this unit. Gord, you've mentioned a couple times the Olim brothers don't play together on the power play, and one of the reasons is that they want Ken-Andre Olim on the second unit as the goal scorer, the shooter there. This is the shooter on the first power play. And Tobias Lindstrom, who had 28 goals this past season, takes a one-time pass from Mattias and doesn't miss. His first goal in his first World Championship at age 30, and it's 1-0 Norway.
So the third power play goal of the tournament for Norway. And you mentioned, Ray, earlier, that is 16 power play goals allowed by South Korea on 40 opposition chances.
Well, when you talk of skill and speed, and it's one of the things that nicks you here when you're killing penalties as well. You see the missed clear by Park Jin-Kui. That gives Mattias a second chance to find the seam to Tobias Lindstrom. But because the Koreans aren't great skaters, generally speaking, if you get a little bit out of position, you can't close the lane. Here's the pass through, and it's in the back of the net.
Now a centering pass, and a shot taken by Lee Chun-Yong was blocked. Kim Sang-wook works out of the corner. Have to pull that back around, and Holo's back on it. Only one South Korean's ever played in the NHL. That's the coach of his team, Jim Pack, who won 2 Stanley Cups with Pittsburgh back in the 90s. Now trying to find some answers behind the bench here. His team down 1-0 in the game. They have to win in regulation to stay up.
Well, there's no way they can give up another goal. I mean, it's a terrible way to think of the game, but they can't expect that they're going to score 3 goals against Norway. So now they've got, this game has to stay right where it is. Korea needs, it is imperative if they're going to avoid relegation to get themselves the next goal. I don't see any way they can fall down 2-0 and get themselves 3 goals in regulation.
Haven't scored more than once in any game in the tournament. Great Britain and Italy coming up next year. Bratislava and Kosice in Slovakia, the 2019 World Championship. After a crazy tournament you mentioned in Division 1A, where before the last game, any two of 4 teams could have qualified depending on the outcome. And that was after that crazy Italy-Slovenia game where both teams pulled their goaltenders. Now Roymark works in, he banks that wide. And the glove save is made by Dalton. You're watching the 2018 World Hockey Championship from Herning, Denmark. 4:32 to go here in the opening period. Norway a 1-0 lead on South Korea.
Now we predict the first goal scorers in each game.
Penalty coming here. We'll go against South Korea.
And I must give you props, Gord, because you were the last one to get one right. Of the players playing, everyone else had predicted a first goal scorer correctly, except you. And the goal by Lindstrom gives you one. Congratulations.
This may come as a shock to you, Ray, but there were teammates of yours who didn't like you. I don't want to,
I think in the essence of full news disclosure,
yes,
we were all hoping that at some point you would get on the board.
Why? No, you weren't. You wanted me to get shut out.
I will say there's been an internal text going, our goal is to hope Gord never gets on the board.
Again, I'll point out that there are people who played with you and who work with you who don't like you.
Oh, I know it's a long list. And we should point out, this same contest goes on in Copenhagen, where the other crew is.
Yes, and Mike Johnson's over.
And as we just looked at the scoreboard and see Mike Johnson with 0, we now root against Mike. Nobody has ever been shut out in an entire tournament. Mike Johnson has a chance. Now that you're on the board, Gord.
Olem in fires, and Dalton knocks that away. I'm busy. Leave me alone. All the way back on the power play. Now, if you knew who we picked before the games, you might detect in certain people's tone of voice whether their players scored or not.
The Czech broadcasters beside us have been quite alarmed at times when there's a celebration on a goal.
When you jumped out of your chair.
That was a 6 carryover. That was a big one.
Started fist pumping. The poor Czech guy next to us almost fell over in his chair. That play called offside at the South Korean line. What a throw for the Thoresen family. For Father Petter, who played in 5 Olympics, and sons Patrick and Stefan to play in the Olympics together. Just an amazing moment for that family.
Now, Stefan not as skilled as Patrick, but kind of the same rough around the edges compete. He's been involved most of this tournament. I've liked this tournament, actually. It's his job not to score. Unfortunately, they haven't gotten enough offense anywhere else.
Lindstrom goes across to Matazola. Plot tried to clear it. Was knocked down by Christensen. Back he goes to Bastiansen. And Mattias Olom. The Olom brothers playing their 9th straight World Championship together. Mattias Olom, one of 6 on this team for Norway, who's playing in double digits for World Championships. This is 11th. Mattias Olom works in. Shoots, and Dalton made the save. The rebound flipped high by Christensen. The puck goes over the glass. Deflected. The faceoff will stay in the South Korean zone with 18 seconds to go on the power play.
Mattias Olom had Matt Dalton fooled here. He was looking across the seam like he was going to pass it again. Watch Olom's hands. He's looking across, and then he zings it back at the net. This is the previous one when he went to the high tip to Bastiansen. That one hit Alex Plant in front. Same play. He looks into Bastiansen and then turns and zips it at the net, and Dalton was just able to get a left pad on it. There is Matt Dalton, a 31-year-old from Clinton, Ontario. He's really been the backbone of this program as they earned their way into this tournament.
And a .925 save percentage in the Division 1A qualifying last year. Now brought in by Anjin Wee. Tied up by Holos. And Nicholas Roos plays it back to center ice as the power play comes to an end. Wide pass chipped in by Kim Sang-woo. Jonas Holos ties him up. Matthias Seeger holds the record for most World Championships at the top level play with 16. Holos is playing in his 13th at the age of 30, so
he's going to get there.
And there's some other guys in the mix there as well from other countries as more and more players play longer and longer. And the second part of that equation is when the tournament was expanded to 16 teams from 12. 8 years ago.
Opens up more spots, of course. It's almost like when we look at the goalie's wins record in history, and there were no ties. Now, you know, you got a chance for.
So what would Ken Dryden's record be if half his ties are converted to wins? At least. Trentinez works it and shoots. That goes wide.
And if the Montreal Canadiens were playing 3-on-3.
Young with a long shot. Haugen hangs on to that with 1:13 to go in the first.
They might have been all right.
The Oilers in the 80s.
It was already hard enough chasing 5 of them around. So a disallowed goal in the first minute and a half for South Korea kept the game scoreless. A power play goal by Norway. Norway gradually has taken this period over where they've controlled more of the play.
Nikita Gusev, who led the Olympics in points for the Olympic athletes from Russia, has scored in the first period to make it 2-0 in favor of the Russians here at the World Championship. So a win there by Russia sets up a first-place showdown with the Swedes tomorrow in Copenhagen. 2 stacked teams on the other side of this draw.
And the winner of that will get the winner of Latvia and Denmark tomorrow in their quarterfinal game. And that game will be in Copenhagen. First place not decided here on our side.
Nope. The United States has clinched the top 2 spot. So we know the United States is staying here in Herning for its quarterfinal match. Still a chance for Canada to finish in second place in this group.
They need to win both of their final games.
Young shoots. And then have Norway, or Finland rather, either lose to the U.S. or have that game go to overtime. And now, Mattias Olom clipped with a high stick, and with 38 seconds left here in the period, Norway's going back to the power play for at least 2 minutes.
South Korea will, this is the 42nd time they've been shorthanded in this tournament. It's a close shave. 42 times
19, 2 minutes for
in 6 games in 1 period. A lot of that, of course, is when the pace gets quick or they get tired, worn out, and start to take some penalties.
Mattis Olam works in, feeds it across to Christensen, fires, and Dalton makes the save on that.
Now Lindstrom scored from that spot earlier in the period. This time, he corrals the puck in the wrist shot to that same corner. Matt Dalton able to get a blocker on the upper right attempt from Tobias Lindstrom.
Norway was the host city for the so-called staggered Olympics when the IOC decided to make the Olympics the summer-winter in different years. So there was the 92 Winter Olympics in Albertville, then in 94, Lillehammer got them. That was the last Olympics before Pyeongchang where NHL players were not there. Peter Forsberg with the famous shootout goal on Corey Hirsch of Canada. .20 seconds to go in the period. Mattis Olam works it back in. That's tipped in the high slot by Bastianson and wide. Tobias Lindstrom sends it back in front. And now knocked down by Olam. Time winding down. Olam holds and shoots, and Dalton makes the glove save.
A couple near misses for Norway on the power play again here as they're trying to work this high tip play. Mattis Olam moves down lower to the dot, so that changes the angle to where the penalty killers go. He just turns again because there's nobody opening up on that high tip play to Bastianson, and he delivers it at Matt Dalton.
Olam works in, feeds it back. And a shot fired through the crease by Esplin as time winds down here in the period. A long shot by Lindstrom goes wide. There'll be a minute and 22 seconds of power play time to carry over to the second period. Norway leads it 1-0 after one here at the 2018 Worlds.
Norway 1. Shots on goal after first period. Team Korea 8. Team Norway also 8. In Copenhagen, Team Russia is right now playing against Team Slovakia. Team Russia is in the lead 2-0. Og så har vi en lille meddelelse til alle skoleeleverne på første sal. Alle skolebørn og deres ledere, de må gerne i næste periode gå ned og sætte sig i underetagen i sektionerne L10, L11, L12 og L13. Man skal bare finde et ledigt sæde, hvor der ikke sidder nogen i forvejen. Simply clever.
Følg med i BT og på BT.dk, når vi dækker ishockey-VM 2018. Vi holder dig opdateret døgnet rundt og giver dig selvfølgelig også masser af unikt indhold. Du får eksklusive interviews og portrætter af de store danske stjerner, spillernes egne historier direkte fra landsholdslejren og de vigtigste VM-nyheder. Kom helt tæt på ishockey-VM 2018, BT og på BT.dk. BT, med på isen fra start til slut.
years of training, pushing myself to be the strongest, the sharpest. My dedication to the game, to my teammates who are counting on me to deliver. The nerves of steel, the preparation and ritual before the adrenaline of the match. The responsibility of being my best every time, prepared to fight every shift on the ice. This is not just a sport. This is who I am.
Team Norway, playing number 46, and has his own 2-minute penalty, hooking time 40 seconds.
Team Norway, challenge, goaltender interference.
After video review, the call on the ice is overturned. We have no goal.
Team Norway, playing number 46, and has his own 2-minute penalty, hooking time 40 seconds. Team Norway, playing number 46, and has his own 2-minute penalty, hooking time 40 seconds. Team Norway, playing number 46, and has his own 2-minute penalty, hooking time 40 seconds. Team Norway, playing number 46, and has his own 2-minute penalty, hooking time 40 seconds. And has his own 2-minute penalty, hooking time
After grading review, the call on the ice is overturned. We have no goal.
Eneste vi tenker på jobbe på nå, neste byt vi ruller på. Kom igjen.
Petter Thoresen and Norway have a 1-0 lead on South Korea after one period of play. Norway survives relegation with a win in regulation or this game going to overtime. The only way South Korea survives is to win the game in regulation, and they'll begin the second period with Kim Sang-wook in the box with 1:22 to serve on his penalty for the first period. Whereas Lindstrom has the only goal in the game so far, his first as a member of the Norwegian national team, on Matt Dalton, the 31-year-old from Clinton, Ontario. He and the O'Reilly boys, Cal and Ryan, grew up together in Clinton. Ryan O'Reilly and Matt Dalton had a chance to hook up earlier in this tournament and talk about the long, winding path that got them here. Esplin up for Bastiansen. It goes back to Brian Young, who slaps it back down the ice. Mattis Olam swings that back for Esplin. Wasn't expecting that pass. No, drops it back for Mattis Olam. Rink wide, he goes for Lindstrom. Tobias Lindstrom in, shoots. And Dalton gets a piece of that on the way by Esplin. Plays it back down. Young tied up. Flat picks it up, flutters up to the line, and just out. Bastiansen works in. Final game of the round robin for both these teams, neither of which will qualify for the medal round. As Bastiansen picks it free. Works it back in front, swept away by Young. Now Ken Olam shoots that back in front. Christensen gets a tip on that, and Dalton made the pad save.
And they've used that high tip every power play today.
And Olam walks in. He fires. It's blocked. Goes back to Esplin. 10 seconds to go in the power play. Ken Olam for Bastiansen behind the back pass there. Esplin picks it up. And the penalized player is back on the ice. Bastiansen for Ken Olam. Tries to throw that back in front. Bastiansen slides it back at the point for Holos. Jonas Holos down to Ken Olam. He got spun around by Young. And Von Saxon plays it back in. And the puck deflects over the glass and out.
Norway with 3 power plays. They've got the 1 power play goal by Lindstrom. Here's Christensen in the middle of the ice. Here's that high tip again. Just keep your stick down and redirect the puck. The guy from the half wall has to shoot it pretty hard. The first guys I recollect using this play were the Sedins in Vancouver.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. I mean, I'm sure it happened before that, but
they made it like a regular part of the power play, and Daniel would move up and down that slot, and Henrik would slap it at his feet, and he was able to get it on the net. And pretty soon it became something more widespread because you don't need the time to shoot it. You just need to be able to redirect it, and it was a pretty clever creation by them.
Now Dalton trapped out of the net for a moment. And Trenton has almost pounced on the loose puck. Von Saxon back at the line, winds and shoots. That went way high and wide. As you like to see, almost hit the car in the corner. Stefan Thoresen plays it back in, and Lee Don-Koo picks it up. This is his 17th IIHF tournament at the age of 30. Kim Ki-sung plays it across, and Lee Don-Koo picks it back up and plays it in. Icing waved off as Christian Bull goes back to pick it up. Nicholas Roost walks in and shoots. That goes high and wide over the glass and out of play.
Yeah, Dalton shrugged that one up, and
the success of this tournament in the relatively small country of Denmark has Norway wondering if it could host a world championship. Oslo and Lillehammer both have rinks big enough.
So we look at how this tournament's been received here in Denmark, and for most of the games, the attendance has been really good.
This will surpass 500,000 tickets sold in total.
Copenhagen has had solid attendance. The host team, of course, have been sellouts every night. And the fact that they put together a good tournament, I think, quite clearly builds enthusiasm. Oh, we want to go. We don't want to miss out. We want to see the games, and it should be quite an atmosphere in here tomorrow night when they play for a chance to to advance to the quarterfinal.
Prague set the record in 2015 with nearly 750,000 tickets sold in 2 large buildings in Prague.
That was an amazing tournament.
Prague and Ostrava were the hosts for that, and Prague has 2 enormous buildings in the city.
We also had Jaromir Jagr playing in that tournament, and it was, remember how the arena shook when they started doing that chant, if you're not Czech?
If you're not hopping, you're not Czech.
Yes, you're not hopping, you're not Czech. It was in the arena, it was on the subway, it was in the street, it was everywhere.
Matt Hazolim picks it back, drops it back to Ken. And played back down to the South Korean zone where Dalton leaves it there for Platt. Long lead pass for Kim Won-soo. And brought in now by Lee Young-jun, and the save made by Lars Haugen.
And a long breakout. Lee Young-jun has a chance. He ends up shooting it kind of into the breadbasket of Lars Haugen, who is in his 44th World Championship game. He played 5 games in the Olympics, and
finally got pulled in the goal, or the loss to the Russians in the quarterfinal. Gave up 3 goals on 19 shots in the first period.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of periods like that here.
Russia, by the way, a 2-0 lead on Slovakia in the second period there. The Slovaks have 2 games remaining, including this one. So their hopes of making the medal round will come down to beating Belarus, which is already relegated tomorrow, and getting some help. So Belarus is out after 14 years at the top level. That centering pass goes off Haugen. Austria will survive, and this game will determine the other team that stays in the top group for next year. Nifty move there by Shin Sang-hoon, moves in, and Haugen turns that away. And now sent down by the Norwegians, an icing call with 15:10 to go here in the period.
Kind of an odd flip into the middle, and Shin Sang-hoon is in. And he loses control of the puck. He ends up hitting the side of the net. There was room. If he gets that hooked in a little more. Right in, clean on goal, not able to finish.
In comes Plante with it, has a lane. And now from a sharp angle, fired on goal there by An Jin-hui. And knocked away by Esplin. By the way, Russia out shooting Slovakia 22-5 in that game. Nikita Gusev, who was so good for the Russians at the Olympics, is once again ripping it up.
He is a terrific offensive player.
Guess who has his rights? Vegas.
Yeah, that was a Tampa Bay 7th round draft choice that in the expansion process he was traded as part of another deal to.
That was to take Jason Garrison, right?
Yeah, and he ended up in Vegas. So whether he ends up coming to North America or not, it's a good asset to have.
Vegas had another deal like that with Columbus. As An walks in and shoots, and Haugen makes the save.
That was close. An almost got him on the short side there.
Vegas got a first-round pick, a second-round pick, took David Clarkson's contract, and got William Karlsson.
And here's this chance as An Jin-hui shoots this as he's pulling the puck to his left, and Haugen almost has it squeak underneath his arm. He makes the stop as Korea's owned most of this period since the end of the penalty that the period started on.
Shots are 4-3 here for South Korea in the period. There's a quick drive by Tretinez knocked wide. And now Thorson drops it back for Forsberg, and Forsberg missed the net. His stick got sawed in half. Thorson back with it. Drops it back for Matt Hazolim. Chol Min-ho stays with him. And now Radunsky pokes at it. Eric Regan knocks it down, flips it ahead, and just got that to center ice. Mattis Olam. Cross for Bull, Christian Bull. Mattis Olam centers it for Ken Olam. That's broken up by Cho Min Ho. He can't clear it out. And now it's moved ahead by Kim Sang-woo. Ken Olam moves in. Steps around the discarded stick. Swift stepped into him, and the pass goes all the way back to the Norwegian zone. Ken Olam banks that rink wide. Lindstrom goes after it. Brian Young knocks it back to center. And Christensen throws it back in. Brian Young from Ennismore, Ontario. Fifth-round pick of the Oilers in 2004. Former Peterborough Pete, who played 17 games for the Oilers. He spent 4 years in the minors for them. Another play called offside at the Norwegian line. You're watching the 2018 World Hockey Championship from Herning, Denmark. .26 to go here in the second period. The second to last day of the round robin portion of this World Hockey Championship. And Norway looking to stay in the top group for the 14th consecutive year with a win today over South Korea. Norway's best ever finished fourth back in 1951. The success in qualifying for the Olympics and other tournaments has not translated at the World Junior level. Last in the top group in 2014. They've been relegated the last of 4 appearances at the World Junior. As you mentioned, those age limit tournaments, the under-18s, the World Junior, very tough for smaller countries.
And they're so random. If you just happen to get a good birth year
and need a goalie.
But there's certain times, like when you end up a small country and all of a sudden they've got 4 really terrific players. It's just the randomness of the birth year that somebody was born in December, not January.
Bashenson works it free. Bashenson back with it. Works out of the corner, walks right out, shoots, and he fired that wide.
That's a strong play. Just held the puck, kept turning and moving his feet to a spot where he could shoot it.
Bashenson.
He's just too big here for them to hang on to. He's got Lee Don-Koo just exhausted.
Drops it back, Valtteri Olsen shoots, and they'll call a crease violation on Salston. And finally a break for the South Koreans.
It's a 1-0 Norway lead. A minute and a half into the first period, Korea scores on the power play. They review it for goalie interference. Park Woo-sang called for the goalie interference. The game remains scoreless until that play. Mattis Olam finds Tobias Lindstrom on their own power play. That was the 16th power play goal against that South Korea has given up in this tournament.
Tretinez banks that down. Dalton fanned on that shoot in. 10.5 to go here in the second period. A 1-0 lead for Norway. South Korea's had its chances. Shots are 5-4 in favor of the South Koreans here in the second period. Jim Pack talking about the promotion from Division 1A last year, said one of the keys was to keep the games 5-on-5.
Certainly their power play and penalty killing have just been overwhelmed in this tournament.
Swift feeds that down. Haugen leaves it back in the corner. Esplin for Sorvik. It was almost picked off by Swift, and now Cho Min-ho with a shot. And the rebound knocked wide by Radunsky. Cho Min-ho kicks that across. Now Lindstrom works in. Tobias Lindstrom drops it back. Ken Olam, the pass too hot for Lindstrom to handle. Picked up now by Plott. Up ahead for Cho Min-ho. Long shot, and Haugen steers that away. 9:14 to go here in the second period. Back here in Herning, Denmark. With Norway up 1-0 on South Korea. Norway got a power play goal from Tobias Lindstrom in the first period. In a game in which they have to win or take to regulation to survive. Kim Ki-sung centers a bouncing puck. Haugen down. And picked up by Sang-wook. Kim Sang-wook trying to center it. Taken away by Von Saxon. Up for Rost. Nicholas Rost swings that rink wide. A hot pass for Christensen. Tommy Christensen spins back. Sang-wook up for Kim Ki-sung. And Ki-sung flips that back down. Goes after his own shoot in this. Christian Bull goes back. Johan Johansson up for Rost. Finds Solston. Solston moves in. Swings around and shoots. He fired that wide. And Dalton will glove that.
Korea stringing this game along. They've had some good chances in this second period. That one almost bounces off of Kim Sang-wook. Initially, he's going to be in position to deflect this, then it hits his foot and slides by Lars Haugen in the Norwegian goal. Really difficult to generate offense if your defense aren't going to get up in the play, and Korea doesn't do that very often. They're maybe rightfully so a pretty conservative team, but it doesn't do them any good to be close. They need 2 goals, otherwise they're getting relegated. So at some point, you would expect that they would get them running up the ice into the rush a little bit, and then hope that your goaltender holds whatever you give up on the way back.
Bastianson winds his way ahead, banks that down, wide of the South Korean goal. Solston plays it around for Bastianson. Plant steps into him. Walkley Olsen tries to play that ahead. Now Kim Won-jung plays that back down to the Norwegian zone. Pretty interesting final day here. In the round robin, Canada will take on Germany. United States against Finland in the battle for top spot. Latvia, Denmark. The finale here tomorrow. The game will decide fourth place in the last quarterfinal spot. And the final game tomorrow in Copenhagen, Russia, Sweden. As the Swedes added 4 National Hockey League players a couple of days ago when Nashville got knocked out. Park Jin-Kyu sends it back in front, knocked down by Volkve Olsen.
Speaking of the Predators, Kyle Turris will not play for Canada tonight. Canada making some tweaks to their lineup.
Yeah.
We'll see some different line combinations.
Han Jin-Wei shoots, and a glove save made by Haugen.
It's the last little opportunity to tweak, to twist, to try and find something that's comfortable. And so Braden Shen will move to the right wing with Connor McDavid tonight. Ryan O'Reilly will back to the middle. The player that's probably getting the biggest elevation, Gord, is Tyson Jost. He'll move into a more regular spot in the lineup. Pierre-Luc Dubois will be out for Canada tonight. He's got a bit of a lower body, I assume a groin or hamstring tweak that they'll just keep him out for today.
Cho Min-ho. Slides that head for Young, who wraps it around. Michael Swift waiting for it. Swift, the Peterborough, Ontario native. Swift, who scored the shootout winner against Ukraine in last year's Division 1A qualifying that sent South Korea to this tournament. Ken Olam plays it across for Jonas Holos. Holos works in a centering pass. Just missed Ken Olam. Now Swift plays it ahead for Radunsky. Radunsky chips it in. Walks right in. Poke check there by Bull. Swift steps up, pokes out ahead for Radunsky. Drops it back for Plant. Alex Plant taking for it, works it back for Radunsky. He was poke checked. And South Korea all around the Norwegian net, can't get a shot away. Ken Olam works in. There's poke check there by So Young John. Haugen plays that ahead for Bull.
It's an offside.
Long delayed offside. 5:31 to go here in the second period. Norway leads 1-0. 5:31 remaining here in the second period. The power play goal for Tobias Lindstrom stands as the only one in the game so far. Norway lost 9-3 to the United States in its last game. The 3 goals, their first in 4 games. They went Sunday to Sunday without scoring. And that puck bounces off the glass, up and out of play.
I'd say Korea's had the better of the chances here in the second period. Shots are 14-13 for Korea. The only goal of the game was a Mattis Olam to Tobias Lindstrom power play marker.
Bull banks that down. Plant picks it up now for South Korea. Tretinez pokes it back to Bull with a wrist shot that flutters off a couple of sticks, and Dalton hangs on to that. Bull, a 21-year-old, one of the part of the wave of young players being infused into this lineup and trying to find replacements for the Olin brothers, Holos, Haugen in goal.
Got to look at Matt Dalton there. He's faced 242 shots in this tournament.
In six games in 2 periods.
Yeah, I mean, he's been pulled twice, so I would say in 6 games, probably of minutes, faced 242 shots. He's got to be sore.
And tired. Christensen works in, shoots, and Dalton got a piece of that. Cole now flips that down towards the goal. You can look down at South Korea's hockey program all you want. It's been an amazing 14 months that these young men will never forget. 20 to 25 players, or 22, sorry, the 25 players who were here, played in the Olympics.
Yeah, it's no gift for them to be here.
Right?
You've mentioned a couple of times, they had to earn it. They had to win to get here.
Played the Olympics on their home ice.
And they were told the national program, which was ranked 31st when they were awarded the Olympics, that you have to show improvement, or else there was no guarantee that they were going to be able to compete, even though the Olympics were at home and under Jim Pack. And Richard Park came with them to help coach. They moved into the top 20. Now number 18 in the world. Now the sustainability of that is really what becomes the question.
Right. Under 4 to go here in the second period. Han Jin-Wee works in. Goes that towards the goal, tipped wide there by Park Jin-Kyu. Get it close to the end of the third period and find a way to bank one in is the best hope for South Korea at this point.
But they need 2.
Yeah.
So
get one.
Get one somewhere in the next 15 minutes or so, 18 minutes, and you got to get your goalie out, but
so we would see the scenario likely where if it was tied in the third period late, South Korea would pull their goaltender in a tie game.
We might see it if they're down 1-0. You might, because you need 2, you might get the goalie out with 5 or 6 minutes left.
That is Olam. Moves ahead now for Norway with Lindstrom. That was close to offside. Picked up by Minho. Joe Minho for Radunsky. Ron Radunsky swings that down. Get a chance, go on to TSN's website. Check out the story of South Korea's Brock Radunsky and his mom and their journey together. It's a remarkable story of perseverance and compassion and really something else. His winding road through the game and his mom's own journey is really something.
An accident robbed them of communication for years, and they thought there wasn't going to be any progress, and miraculously there has been.
Nice call against South Korea. 2:18 to go here in the second.
And you mentioned, Gord, this might be Radunsky's last game with the national team at 35 years old.
Ouch.
Michael Swift gets a flip of the stick up to the grill. Oh, just underneath the visor. The stick up on Saxon catches him.
Still 2-0 in Copenhagen. Russia leading Slovakia. Nikita Triempkin's gone off there for hooking.
Former Vancouver Canuck.
Must have been quite a hook.
He's a large man.
6'9"?
6'8", yep. He's interesting character because he went back home after last year, wanted to go back to Russia. He's married, has like him, a young wife who didn't speak English. They went back where it's more comfortable. Still a Vancouver prospect. There's some talk that he wants a return to the NHL in the next couple of years. I mean, what's not intriguing about him? His size, he can move. Not like the Canucks defense is so stout that they can't find room for him.
Stefan Thorsen spins back. And now Tretinez. Miss Thorsen with that pass under 2 to go here in the second period. Radunski. Cho Min Ho knocked down by Tretinez. Down to Thorsen, that skipped away from Emir Swift back on it. Four of the 6 players on the ice right now for South Korea were born in Canada. And Swift goes after it. Goal up ahead for Rost. Nicholas Rost swings it back across for Tretinez. Shoots, that goes wide. And Dalton loves to carry him off the end boards.
Nowhere to go in the game. It's stuck at 1-0 Norway. A power play goal in the first period. Even the doctor behind the bench is checking his watch. I'm not real sure what he's up to, but
maybe he's doing shift length. Got the stopwatch now. Use the.
Yeah, you wouldn't see the old click stopwatch. I like those. I hated when the coaches started to carry him behind the bench because you used to be able to go by feel. They'd say that shift looked like it was too long. Then they'd come down and show you the watch and go, oh.
Then the ice time sheets became public. Bashinson works free. Tries to wrap it around and trickles down, and Dalton hangs on to that. Those ice time sheets were a closely guarded secret for the longest time. Still are in the American League.
I don't get it.
They don't release.
I don't know why they don't want anyone to know. Maybe they're not sure about the data accumulation, whether it's accurate or not, but everybody wants to know.
And here in the IIHF tournaments, they show the ice time by period, which is interesting to know too. Back in the point, Holo shoots, and Dalton makes save number, 200?
Now 16 saves tonight. So he's faced 245 shots. 207 saves. Yikes.
It's a long 10 days.
But they're hanging in here.
Yeah.
If they can get this to the start of the third period in this position.
They've stayed out of the box for the most part here. There's not been a penalty called in the second. Find a way in the third to stay up in the top group. An Jinhui will have something to do with that as he moves across the line. It's called offside. This group with An Jinhui, pretty dangerous offensively. Wu Sang, the centerman.
And then you've got the 2 Canadians, Radunski and Swift, play on the other line with Cho Min Ho, who scored the first ever goal at the Olympics for Korea. Quite a celebration when he scored. I think it was like a bolt of lightning of unexpectedness.
Yeah. Well, a 1-0 lead in the Czech Republic at the time. Time winding down here in the second period. Norway chips it ahead to Rost. Rost walks in, shoots. Dalton save. The rebound cleared away. Long shot by Von Saxon. Dalton save on that. Rost with a chance at the horn. And this game will go to the third period with Norway leading South Korea 1-0 on this Monday at the World Hockey Championship.
Shots on goal, Team Norway 12, Team Korea 6, total Team Norway 20, total Team Korea 14. Playing right in Copenhagen is standing between Team Russia and Team Slovakia. After the second period is Team Russia 2, Slovakia 0. opdateret døgnet rundt og giver dig selvfølgelig også masser af unikt indhold. Du får eksklusive interviews og portrætter af de store danske stjerner, spillernes egne historier direkte fra landsholdslejren og de vigtigste VM-nyheder. Kom helt tæt på ishockey-VM 2018, BT og på bt.dk. BT, med på isen fra start til slut.
And determination I need every day. The years of training, pushing myself to be the strongest, the sharpest. My dedication to the game, to my teammates who are counting on me to deliver. The nerves of steel, the preparation and ritual before the adrenaline of the match. The responsibility of being my best every time, prepared to fight every shift on the ice. Just a sport. This is who I am.
Shots on goal, Team Norway. second period. On the left of the second. On the left of the second period.
Kan du bjuda på något här?
The only goal of the game goes to Tobias Lindstrom so far, a power play marker in the first period. The situation for South Korea is simple. To stay alive in the competition and come back next year, they must win this game in regulation. That means scoring at least 2 goals, something they haven't done in a game yet in this World Championship. Lars Haugen has not allowed a goal yet on 14 shots. Played 5 games for Norway at the Olympics in Pyeongchang. Playing in Färjestad in the Swedish Hockey League. Norway is not a hockey powerhouse necessarily, despite qualifying for the last 3 Olympics, but it is a Winter Olympic powerhouse, tied with Germany for the most gold medals in Pyeongchang with 14, 39 medals total for Norway in those Olympics. Only 3 Winter Olympic athletes have won 8 gold medals. All 3 are from Norway. And they also dominate speed skating. As Brian Young goes back. Now a centering pass. Ken Olem bats that just wide. Loose in front of the goal. Bias Lindstrom. Plays it back, and that long shot fired towards the goal by Bull. Knocked down in center for Kim Ki-sung. He plays it across for Kim Sang-wook. Sang-wook looks in the corner. Holos took that away. So if you're South Korea, Ray, I guess you hope for a power play. A chance to...
And you also have to have a decision. How long are you going to go before you get the goalie out? Are you going to go 15 minutes? I wouldn't go much longer than that. You need 2. It does you no good to be close. A 1-1 tie does you no good.
The game goes to overtime. Norway advances. Blanc goes back, actually called against the Norwegians. And if you're Norway, you know, again, you've talked about it throughout the tournament, they need to score and give themselves some breathing room here.
And it's just been miserable for them to score, as there's a chance as Ken-Andre Olem finds, or Mattis finds his brother Ken-Andre in front of the net. He just whacks it over the top of the net. 3 straight games Norway was shut out. Finland, Canada, Denmark. And then they were shut out into the third period, or into the second period against the United States. They got 2 late ones, but man, it's just been a real struggle for them.
Eric Regan's long shot floats wide, played back in by An Jinwi. Salston waiting for it. And Salston throws that ahead. When Norway played Denmark the other night, and Denmark won that game, nearly 50% of the televisions in this country were tuned into that game. Norway and Denmark have a long-standing rivalry that might go back to the days of Eric the Red for all we know, but Norway has twice beaten Denmark in Olympic qualifying, including 2016. Freddie Andersen got hurt in that qualification tournament for the Danes as Haugen falls there. And now Regan goes back for it, and icing waved off. Regan for Lee Don-koo up to center ice. That's knocked down by Sorvik. And now Esplund swings back for Norway. Canada will play Latvia tonight, as Ray mentioned. Kyle Turris, coming from Nashville, will not play tonight for Canada as Forsberg wins and shoots. Dalton knocked that away, and the rebound was chopped wide by Matthias Trettedes.
Another puck out of the air that's bunted wide here in the first couple of minutes.
Kim Sang-wook tries to work that in. Kim Ki-sung had it bounce away from him. Sorvik up ahead for Christensen. That was close to offside. Now loose in the corner is Roymark. Roymark pivots back. Now knocked away from Von Saxon. And the emergency swing for Roymark there. Chipped it away from Kim Sang-wook. Kim Ki-sung with Seo Young-john. He winds in. South Korea changing now. With 3.5 gone here in the third period. Alex Plot flips it back down to the Norwegian zone. Haugen up to play it, leaves it there for Holos. Lindstrom for Mattis Olem, and that long shot hammered wide by his brother Ken. With Olem back down to the Norwegian zone. Johan Johansson chips it back down, and icing called again against Norway, 3rd time here in the third period rather.
We saw Ken-Andre Olem bunt one over the top of the net, and Matthias Trettenes is going to do the same thing here. A shot from the wing that Dalton knocks aside. He's controlled the rebound. He's put it into a non-dangerous place, except Tretinez is there to take a baseball swing at it, and that would have likely put this to bed. I mean, a couple of goals seems unrecoverable at this time.
Park Jin-kyu with a chance here for South Korea off the face-off. Now tries to poke that ahead. It's kicked out by Volkve Olsen. Plot plays it back for Regan. For Plot. Park Jin-kyu tries to center it. That's broken up by Volkve Olsen. Regan knocks it back ahead. And then Johansson goes back for it. Volkve Olsen. Out to center ice, poked ahead for Bastiansen. A backhand shot, gloved by Dalton, and he'll hang on.
Even though Norway's iced the puck 3 times in this period, there's really no push yet from Korea. Jim Peck looks like he's a little exasperated that they can't get to the puck, they can't control it and move it back up the ice, and they're going to have to at some point. And as I mentioned last period, Gord, there's a point in the game here where you have to tell your defense, you've got to go. We've got to get up the play, and then hope that Matt Dalton can make a save if you give up a man advantage break going back the other way.
Glove down by Dalton, leaves it there for Young. Forsberg winds it around for Tretinez. Back at the line is Holos. A long shot that goes off the leg of Christensen and wide. Quick look there from Shin Sang-hoon. Looks ahead. That pass was in behind Kim Won-jong. An icing call against South Korea. 5 gone here in the third. Don't necessarily detect the urgency you might expect here in the third period.
This couldn't be any flatter, this period. So what, we're 5 minutes in, we've got 4 icings. 3 shots on goal and 0 pace. It's just like this is the last game of the tournament. It's almost like they've forgotten that one of them's going to get relegated here.
Alexander Von Saxon playing in his 9th World Championship. Plays it ahead for Bastiansen. And for Rost. Rost loose in the corner now. Nicholas Rost. Down to Christensen. Bounced away from him. Holo steps up. Swats it around. It's knocked down by Seo Young-jon. Norway changing. And that lead pass chipped in by Kim Ki-sung. Knocked down by Bull. Tobias Lindstrom, who has the only goal in the game so far, drops it back for Holos. Holos played 39 games for Colorado in 2010-11. Now playing in his 13th World Championship. Poked ahead, in comes Mattis Olam. Loose behind the South Korean goal. Olam pivots back. Plays it there for his brother Ken. Ken Olam swings it back, and Lindstrom fanning that shot. Fired back in by Ken Olam, and Dalton knocks it down for South Korea. Rings it around. Swift can't chip it out. Bull a long shot, and that's blockered away by Dalton. Up and over the glass and out of play. You're watching the 2018 World Hockey Championship live from Herning, Denmark. Still 1-0 Norway on South Korea. And time winding down on South Korea's chances of staying in the top group of the World Championship. Got to win this game in regulation to stay up, making their first appearance ever in the top group. Jim Pack took over this team as the national team head coach. Didn't have a skate sharpener. No way to order equipment. Now Bastian to the wraparound, rebound, score! Volkve Olsen shoots it home, 2-0 Norway.
Volkve Olsen had scored in the second game of the tournament. The win against Germany, 5-4 in the shootout. We saw in the second period, Bastiansen did this same thing below the goal line. Just too big and too strong. He goes to wrap it in. The puck comes off his stick, and Volkve Olsen is standing on the left side of the net. Eric Regan falls down. The puck goes right through Alex Plant's skate and stick rather, and Volkve Olsen shoots it into the empty net.
One of the more productive Norwegian players, had 23 goals for Södertälje in the Swedish Hockey League this year. Thomas Volkve Olsen, the 24-year-old, gives Norway what must look like an insurmountable lead.
Nobody able to handle Bastiansen. They couldn't in the second period. They're not able to here. And it's 2-0 Norway.
Korea hasn't scored 2 goals in a game at this World Championship and needs 3 in the next 12 minutes and 57 seconds. Polos. Can't clear it out. Kim Ki-sung picks that off. Now Kim Won-jung with a shot that deflects wide. South Korea thought it had taken the lead here. In the first period, a power play goal in the opening minute was disallowed due to goaltender interference. Roymark works in. Being tied up there by Plant. Roymark around for Christensen. So is there any thought here now, Ray? Do you pull your goaltender now if you're South Korea? Get him out with 9 to go?
Well, why not? I mean, yeah, you might end up losing 5-0, but 2-0, 2-1, 2-2, it doesn't matter. If the goal is to try and stay connected, I don't know that it's a terrible chance to take. Everybody's different. I would do it. Because I don't see, if I'm coaching Korea, if I'm Jim Pack, I don't see that we're generating enough chances that we might get 1 or 2.
Lost 3-1 to Denmark in their last game. After that 13-1 drubbing by Team USA. For the most part at the Olympics, Ray, they kept it close. They had the 8-0 loss to Switzerland, but they lost 2-1 to the Czechs. Were beaten 4-0 by Canada. That was 2-0 after 1, or after 2 rather. Then they lost 5-2 to Finland in the qualification round game, but that was 3-2 Finland after 40 minutes.
They've just been overwhelmed this tournament. I would say the difference in the players, the amount of NHL players here has been a real struggle for them. The amount of games has been really problematic. So if there's a penalty.
Delay a game penalty. We'll go to Brian Young for running the puck over the glass.
So, you know, you're playing 7 games in 11 days. You lean on very few players and start making mistakes like this. You're just tired and worn out.
Team Korea, player number 5, 2 minutes 40 left in the game.
So 10:53 to go in the third period, and Norway will go to the power play. Still 2-0 Russia on Slovakia. The shots in the first period were 17-2 for Russia, but now it's 32-22 overall. Ken Olam out there with Stefan Thoresson, Christian Forsberg, Jonas Holos, and Volkve Olsen on the points. Holos with it. Ken Olam back for Holos. And Ken Olam. Centering pass, tipped off the post. There's that high tip again for Stefan Thoresen. Ken Olam. Lost the puck there to Lee Young-John. At the point, held by Holos. For Ken Olam. Holos. Back for Ken Olam. Ken Olam feeds it back. Holos winds and shoots, scores! Gets through Dalton. A power play goal. 3-0 Norway.
2 power play goals today. That's 17 given up in the tournament by South Korea. Norway doubles their power play production. They went from 2 to 4 in this tournament. Ken Andre gets to the puck. They play a little catch with Stefan Thoresen, and Holish's shot goes all the way through, hits Dalton and squeaks through. It's the first of the tournament for Holish. And it's now 3-0.
Jim Pack knew there'd be some long days at the World Championship. Played really well against Denmark after the beating at the hands of the U.S.
I thought that was their best game of the tournament.
Now the hard part for South Korea, as we mentioned, is going to be to continue the program down in Division 1A. You've got a lot of older players here, a number of whom may retire. If you lose Dalton, who's 31.
You're going to lose Radunsky. Apparently this is going to be his last national team game. Will they recruit a few more North Americans to help the program until they can hopefully generate a few more homegrown products? And that costs money. And
those guys would have to play in South Korea for a minimum 2 years before they're eligible to apply to play for the national team. And getting South Korean citizenship, by the way, is not easy. Backhand shot stopped by Dalton. 8:50 to go here in period number 3. .50 remaining here in the third period of this game. Still tonight, Canada against Latvia. And tomorrow, 3 games in both Herning and Copenhagen, and lots on the line in all 3 on this side. Finland against the United States, Canada, Germany, and Latvia, Denmark. And in Copenhagen tomorrow night, the wrap-up game is Sweden against Russia. Von Saxon falls there. Tied up in the corner. Now a centering pass, bounces around. Volkby Olsen waiting for it. A little backhand shot. And that was blocked by Kim Won-jong. Kim Sang-wook swings back with 8 to go here in the period. Moves around Volkby Olsen. saying, whoop, no such luck with Johan Johansson.
Johansson, one of the younger players on Norway's roster. He's 21, but and we also talk about the challenges of a small nation. Hockey-wise, he's played with 6 teams on all different kinds of levels the last 2 years.
Right.
So to try and have any continuity to your growth and development is really difficult.
And that's not uncommon. Ken Olam walks in, shoots, and Dalton made the point-blank save on him. That's Olam trying to center that. Now moved ahead by An Jinhui. And swinging back is Esplin for it. Just past 6 o'clock local time. In comes Thoresen, moved off the puck. And Trentonez back for it. And a penalty coming down to South Korea. And once again, it'll be Brian Young who goes off. He was in the box for delay of game when Norway scored its 3rd goal.
Young gets his stick into the feet of Trentonez, and as you get to a point of the inevitability of what's in front of you, just the airs run out of Korea here.
A 3-0 lead here, a 2-0 lead for Russia over Slovakia. There have been 17 shutouts so far in the tournament. That's more than any in the last 5 tournaments. Lindstrom feeds it back to Esplin. Lindstrom back to Esplin, winds and shoots. That was tipped wide by Christensen. Tommy Christensen's playing in his 3rd World Championship for Norway. As Badgerton shoots, that block, still looking for his 1st goal. Matt Hazolam swings back. And Dalton able to keep that out. And South Korea clears it away.
Norway will finish with 6 points, which will keep them out of the relegation spot.
For Norway, a loss to Latvia to open. The loss to Denmark was a real backbreaker. The 3-0 loss to Denmark. If they're going to have any hopes of making the quarterfinals, they had to win that one. Ken Olam pivots back in the corner. 20 seconds to go in the Norwegian power play. So it appears Norway will spend a 14th consecutive year in the top group of the World Championship. Go to Slovakia next year. Holos plays it down the roost. Backdoor pass, flipped wide there by Roymark. And Young steps back on. Under 5 to go here in the 3rd period. Now Holos shoots, and Dalton makes the save. You're watching the 2018 World Hockey Championship from Herning, Denmark.
Physical
Russia has scored twice into empty nets in Copenhagen, a 4-0 lead now on the Slovaks. So the Slovaks will close out tomorrow night against Belarus. And hope for a win there and some help to qualify for the quarterfinals. Slovakia could not have been relegated in this tournament as the host nation next time. Belarus, however, will be relegated and is co-hosting with Latvia in 2021. So Belarus will go back to Division 1A next year. And if it doesn't win that qualification tournament, or finish top 2 rather, then it gets into a tricky situation where they'll likely be given automatic promotion the following year. Only one team will come out of 1A. That's tipped right on goal, and Dalton kicks that away.
They'll not leave them out of the tournament.
No, they'll be in it. It's messy if they don't win 1A next year and have to be put in as an automatic berth.
Yeah, the only place it really stinks for is somebody that finishes in the top 2 in 1A and they don't win it.
Back at the point, Regan shoots. That goes high and wide. So this run in the spotlight for South Korean hockey is going to come to a close, at least for now. Some magical moments along the way. When we think about Pyeongchang and after that loss to Finland, the players bowing to the fans and then to the coaching staff, and the tears in the eyes of Jim Pack, who has spent the last 5 years building this program.
I guess probably where we were, as there's another penalty coming up to Korea, where we might have been hopeful or tricked even, is that because things went the way they did at the Olympics, the thought that maybe they could do that again, but there was so much emotion tied up into such a small period of time, and emotion and adrenaline can carry you. They just weren't able to do it here. It's too difficult a tournament, it's too long, and the gap showed on them.
3 sets of back-to-backs for South Korea in this tournament.
Team Korea, player number 8, 2 minutes for slashing.
Kim Won-jung goes off for slashing.
It's just tired and is disagreeing with it. They'll still corral him and get him over to the penalty box.
No one has successfully evaded capture in that situation.
No one can't win. They'll find you.
You can hide, you can argue. Long shot taken there by Bunk Saxon, is stopped by Dalton. Ken Oldham down to Forsberg. But the hope would be too long-term for Jim Pack and others that a young South Korean watching the Olympics would take up the game, as Dalton now goes to the bench with 2:20 to go. Referee Brett Iverson telling him to keep playing. 6 players around that puck along the boards. And it's finally worked free for Swift. So 5 skaters on 5. Kim Won-jung can't hold it. Across to Swift. That shot goes off a skate. Under a minute remaining in the Norwegian power play, which is an empty net to shoot at. Regan to Kim Ki-sung. Kim Sang-wook plays it across, but offside is called at the Norwegian line.
Yeah, pretty cool year for these guys, though, as you mentioned, Gord. They play in the Olympics, they play in a World Championships, things that they probably didn't have on their radar 5 and 7 years ago.
Qualifying tournament in 2017.
Yeah, I mean, when they came to Korea, they just think they're extending their career and, oh, let's go live an adventure. They've been there quite some time now. Swift has been there 7 years. He's been a citizen for 4 years. Brian Young's been there a few years.
And the Swift was telling us getting citizenship is tough, right? You gotta.
Well, they have to pass the citizenship test. They also have to sing the national anthem, which I assume is not very easy to do.
Christensen.
You know, and there's 40 people in the room that, you know, it's not like you just hand the test in. There's some pressure to this.
Christensen. Back in the point is Esplin. Swings it across, and a long shot taken by Sorvik. And they move back down the ice by the South Koreans. Less than a minute to go here in the third period. So one promoted team from last year will survive. That'll be Austria. The other, South Korea, is going back down. Regan plays it ahead for Shin Sang-hoon, walks in, drops it back, and that shot by Kim Won-jung was blocked. And now Dalton's gone back to the bench. Juan swings back to pick it up. 20 seconds to go here in the third. Kim Sang-wook flips that ahead. Centering pass, chipped wide of the goal there by the captain, Park Woo-sang. And Norway will win it as Volkvi Olsen comes in on the empty net. 3-0 the final score, so Norway survives. Finishes with 6 points, will be in 7th place in the group. Korea is 8th and will be relegated to Division 1A. Still to come tonight, Canada and Latvia here in Herning.
The best players in each team will be awarded with the official watch by Tizon, official timekeeper of the 2018 IIHF Ice Hockey World Championship. The prizes will be presented by, for Team Korea, Mong Chung, President of the Korea Ice Hockey Association. Best player, Team Korea, player number 5, Brian William Young. For Team Norway, Otto Eide, General Secretary of Norwegian Ice Hockey Association. Best player Norway, player number 30, Lars Haugen. Ladies and gentlemen, now the award of the 3 best players of each team of the tournament will be presented by Infront, the official marketing and media partner of the IIHF. The 3 best players awards are selected by each team and will be presented by, for Team Korea, Mong Wong Chung, President of the Korea Ice Hockey Association. The best 3 players of Team Korea are number 1, Matt Dalton, number 11, Kim Sung Kim, number 19, Sang-Bok Kim. Please go all 3. And for Team Norway, Otto Eide, General Secretary of Norwegian Ice Hockey Association. The 3 best players of Team Norway, number 40, Ken Andre Ulip. Number 4, Johannes Johannessen. And number 20, Anders Bastiansen. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem of Norway. Don't forget to get your tickets for the next game. Tickets can be bought at Ticketmaster's box office in the arena and in the fan zone at ticketmaster.dk. The next game will be here in Jyske Bank Boxen, 8:15, Team Canada against Team Latvia. Get your official merchandise today. Don't forget to visit the IIHF merchandise tent in the fan zone. Kindly ask you to remember all your belongings when you leave the arena and look forward to welcome you again. The final results been Royal Copenhagen, Team Russia 4, Team Slovakia 0. And a big thank you to all the fans from Korea and from Norway. You have been great.
Well, Norway certainly did not disappoint. A lot on the line today, considering that relegation was a possibility. How motivated was this group heading into it?
We were really motivated, but I think the start was kind of nervous because there's a lot of stuff like we want to stay in the A group really bad. So the nervousness, we were kind of nervous before the game, but I think we showed them that we were the better team today.
10 players over the age of 30. This is a veteran-laden squad. You yourself playing in your 13th World Hockey Championship. Does experience play a factor when you get into key games like this?
Yeah, of course. Like when you played a lot of important games like this before, you know that you just have to keep calm and play your game because you have to be consistent and trust your game. And I think we did that today, and it shows in the game.
Norway, still a growing hockey nation. You see the success here of the World Championships being hosted in Denmark. Is that something that you would like to see in the near future, it being hosted in Norway?
Yeah, of course. I think the crowd here has been awesome, and I think if we had some new rings back home, we could do the same. But we have not a long way, but a way to go to do this.
Well, congratulations on the win. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, you knew this was going to be a steep challenge considering that relegation was on the line. You guys get out to a hot start, and yet that goal is called back. Did that coach's challenge change everything in terms of momentum?
You know, it was really early in the game, so there's still a lot to play, but you know, for the first time in the tournament, that would have given us a pretty good feeling. And leading 1-0 there, I feel like you know, we would have been able to get things going, but you know, it's still, there would have been 59 more minutes, and we would have had to play well after that.
Now you take your final bow out here on the ice in front of the fans, the coaching staff. There has been rumors circulating that this could potentially be your last game. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, that's most likely going to be the case. You know, I had a lot to stay motivated for this year with the Olympics and for this team playing up in the Division I in the Worlds. So, you know, I'm getting to that point where I'm pretty comfortable walking away from the game.
What is it that you'll take away? I mean, you've had so many experiences from being drafted to the NHL, going over to Asia, playing 10 seasons there, and this past year alone.
Yeah, I think, you know, the game of hockey gives you lots of opportunities, and, you know, if you continue to do what you love, there'll be doors that open for you. And, you know, that's, you know, in my case, I was pretty fortunate to have a couple unique experiences in my last year after 14 years pro hockey. So it just goes to show you that if you stay with it, good things will happen.
Well, congratulations on a long career, and thank you for your time.
Thanks for everything. Yep.